Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Aloha, everybody. This is Harold Green of Brightree Financial Group. It is time to stop doing what you hate. Welcome to the show, everybody. I hope you are having a fantastic day. I know I'm doing pretty good, and I'm extremely excited to bring you guys today's show because I think it's probably one of the most powerful shows that I've ever done. And the title of the show is The Ultimate Money Magnet. That's right, The Ultimate Money Magnet. And I'm going to share something so powerful with you guys. And I'm not sure if this is something you have heard before. But before I get into the show, I want to ask you guys a question. I know all of us have, our favorite song, something that just gets us hyped, something that just puts us in the mood. And every time we hear this song, it just takes us to a whole different level. So you guys can hit me up and email me, give me a call. Just let me know what your favorite song is. And one of the songs I love is by Tribe Called Quest. And that's a group back in the 80s and 90s. And the song is titled Bugging Out. And if you guys don't know what bugging out means, go look it up. But it starts off with the lyrics, "Yo, microphone check 1 2, what is this? The 5-foot assassin with a roughneck business. I float like gravity, never had a cavity, got more rhymes than the ones that got family." Every time I hear that, I'm on the treadmill, man, I just erupt and I take it to a whole new level. But again, I'm super excited to be sharing today's show, The Ultimate Money Magnet. Are you guys ready? 1 2 3, let's get it. Now, here's a stat that just blows my mind. And it's basically 3% of all the people in the world, in the United States, will retire with enough money to last them their entire lives. Now, that's a big number, 3%. And so I always ask myself, what happened to the 97%? Why can't those people retire with enough money to last them their entire lives? And I just began to do a deep dive and a deep search. And here's something that I found out. And it took me going into my own life and looking at what has happened in my own life. And I'm going to share a little bit of that with you guys. And I believe there's 3 major reasons why people cannot put themselves in position to have massive financial success. I'm going to share it with you, but I'm going to start dropping some dimes in there here and there that also kind of add value to this conversation. And right now we are in tax season, and everybody is going to see their tax professional. Some people are getting a huge refund back, which I absolutely abhor, and I'll tell you guys why later. If you get to become a client and know me, I hate tax refunds with a passion. Okay. But people are going to their tax professional, and people dread paying taxes. I understand. I feel your pain because I have put myself in a position where I definitely have to pay some taxes this year. I'm not going to cry about it, but it's something that I have to do. It goes with the territory. But there's ways we can plan to reduce our taxes, but we can never eliminate our taxes without cheating and going to jail. But one of the things that just makes my skin crawl is when people go to their tax professional and the tax professional begins to question their financial plan. And here's my thing. I kind of don't mind them asking questions from a standpoint of, what is it that you're doing and what's working? Not from the standpoint of, what are you doing? Who are you working with? What kind of fees are you paying? Why are they doing this? And why are they doing that? And sometimes the clients trust me, and sometimes they forget why they're doing what they're doing. And they sit there and they tell the tax person, well, I don't know. And it begins to sow seeds of doubt. And the tax person goes into things like, well, you don't want to be paying taxes and you don't want to do this. So you need to do this and you need to do that. And the client's sitting there and they're scared because they don't want to pay taxes and they don't want to get in trouble. My thing is this, when they call me and they tell me things like this, I try not to get upset because I know a tax person is not a fiduciary advisor. They have no business telling you about long-term planning. Any suggestion they make to you, you should run back by your financial planner. And then the financial planner, in conjunction with the tax person, confirms the idea And then you guys can implement that together, because it's the only way you're going to know. You got to run the numbers and make sure that what they are telling you is in your long-term best interest. But a lot of times it's not. Sometimes they'll come in and say, well, they said, I'll save a few $100s or whatever it might be if I just put this money in an IRA. I'm like, wait a minute, $6,000 in an IRA to save $300 in taxes. Wait a minute, that may not be a good idea. This is money that we're going to need for this. Remember, you said you wanted to do this, and that. Well, if you do that, then it's going to hurt the plan. Well, we didn't think about it like that. Well, word to the wise, when you're sitting with your tax person, you darn sure better make sure you have a financial planner and somebody you can go and run these ideas by that the tax person gives you, because you're only going to see the tax person probably once a year, but they're giving you advice that can derail your whole entire financial plan and turn things on its head. So be very careful when you go to see your tax professional. And my word to them is, please stay in your lane or work with another financial advisor. If you want to give people advice, make sure you hire an advisor or whatever to vet that through. All right, so we want to talk about, why is it that only 3% of the people in our country can retire with enough money to live for the rest of their lives? So I'm going to go at it at the 96%, okay? Because the 3%, I think I already talked about them and why they're successful. But I want to talk about the 96%. And here's some things that you can do to make sure that you're not falling in that 96%. But what's happening with the 96%? Here's what I believe. Number one, it's based on how people are born, right? The position that they're born into, their situation in life. I'm not saying that it can't change, but what were they born into? Were they born into a family that valued education and that saved money to send them to college? Or were they born into a family that was already barely getting by? Now, I am not saying this to put anybody down on the show. I want you guys to understand that, because I was born into a situation, and my family, they probably don't mind me sharing this, but my mom had me when she was 21, and my dad was kind of like, he was tripping out. I think they, so he was tripping out, and so it was a whole weird situation. And I was partially raised by my grandparents, which my grandfather was a business owner. My grandmother also, she worked in the hospitality industry. So they taught me a lot of things, and I had a decent upbringing for the most part. But a lot of times people are born into situations where it's absolutely hard to overcome. And I'm going to share with you guys what happened to me that allowed me to overcome and to move on from one level to the next level to the next level. But sometimes people are just born with a bad lot in life, right? And they're trying to make the best of it. But it can change. The situation can change. And so if you know friends out there who are struggling a little bit, or people that may need some help, send them my way and I'll see what I can do to help them out. But here's one of the biggest things I see that keeps people in the situation that they're in. And it's their decisions in life, the decisions they make in life. And it leads me to this. When you fall into a situation, there's two ways you can handle it. You can freak out and make decisions with knee-jerk reactions, or you can calm down, do your research, and try to make the best decision you possibly can that will do a couple of different things for you, because how you react and how you handle a situation is going to determine how good or bad things turn out. Sometimes you can make a situation go from bad to worse because of an overreaction. And I think that's what's happening in the stock market right now. People are overreacting. They don't have a solid game plan. And I talked about investing, how you need to have an entry point and an exit point, and you have to understand your risk tolerance, and you have to have a risk mitigation system in place. But most people don't. They're flying by the seat of their pants, and you do that, it can turn out really bad. But I've had some situations in my life that I think I've handled extremely well, and I have some situations that I didn't handle well. And so how they handle crisis is a very, very important thing. And I think that's why it's so important to have people that you can talk to, people that you can go to and share with what your situation is and what's going on in your life, because that's the game changer. And that's going to be the difference maker. So I want to talk to you about my life, right? I'm Black. Well, here I'm Black. I still am Black. I don't think I've changed my color at all. But at one point, I was really overweight, right? I was happy-go-lucky, didn't have a care in the world, but I was broke as crap. I mean, I was broke. I couldn't keep $5 in my pocket. And, I was just kind of raised like that. And my family had a hard time with money, and money was always hard to come by. So, it began to do things to me as I grew up and the way I thought about money. And as I became an adult, every time I got money, I spent it. And my whole mindset was, I'm working for a paycheck so I can do what I want to do on Friday, which is, go to a bar, go to a club, hopefully, do what young guys do, spend money, waste money. And it was never ingrained in my mind that I needed to save money, because every time I saved money, something would happen and I would have to help somebody out, or I never was able to keep anything in my pocket. And it began to plant a mindset in me. And so I decided that one day that I did not want to be like that anymore. I didn't want to be fat and broke. Okay. And so I was praying about this, and God spoke to me, and it set off a chain of events that changed my life forever. And being overweight was a very, very, very hard thing. And being in business and being overweight, people look at you a certain kind of way. And they think that if you're skinny, you're good looking, you're going to make things happen for them. But if you're overweight and you don't look all that great and whatever, and you got all these issues, it's kind of like people project that onto you, and you may be a good person. And so I'm going to break up my little violin. And I was sharing with my wife, honey, I'm working so hard. And, but it's just not happening. And she said, well, you're overweight. And I was like, I got mad. I got offended. I got highly offended, because I'm like, I'm such a good person. I got so much to offer. And why are people giving me such a hard time? Why am I not getting new clients? Why? She said, because you're fat and people don't like fat people. I was mad. I said, what? What has being fat got to do with it? I work just as hard as anybody else. Why is being fat a problem? And I came across the scripture in the Bible, and it's 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. And it talks about man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And I told my wife, God knows my heart. She said, yeah, but people don't care about your heart. They care about other things. And right there, I had to make up my mind that I was going to change my appearance. And at the time, I think I weighed 360 pounds. I was large. I wasn't just large. I was extra large, right? I would go to the beach and, take off my shirt and play with my kids. And everybody was like, oh, there's Big Papa. There's Biggie Smalls. I was like, oh my God. And I used to hate going to the beach. And I think I missed out on a lot of stuff with my kids here and there. But at one point I just said, I don't give a crap. I'm going to take my shirt off and let all my fat hang out, and people can laugh all I want. But only thing my kids are going to remember is Dad took me to the beach and we had fun that day. They're not going to remember all that other stuff. So I had to make it up in my mind. But even then, that was no excuse. And so I had to do something major. I had to change my attitude about money and how I could attract wealth. I had to lose weight. So I went on this thing and I started to lose weight. And I went from 360 to 340 to 320. Eventually, I hired a personal trainer and I lost more weight. And I think I've lost darn near 100 pounds. And what God told me was, the more weight you lose, the more money you're going to make. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. He said, yeah, just do it. Just obey me. Do what I'm asking you to do. The more weight you lose, the more money you're going to make. So I began to lose weight and lose weight and lose weight and lose weight. I'm not going to say how much I've lost, but it did something to my money attitude. My attitude began to change. I began to have more confidence. And that confidence, when I exude that confidence, along with me studying and busting my butt in other areas, people became attracted to that. And I began to get more and more and more and more clients, because I changed my money mindset, which also allowed me to help, I changed my thinking about my appearance, which helped me change my money mindset. And that's very important. So I want to leave you with three things. I want to leave you with three keys to improving your money mindset or your money attitude, because attitude determines your altitude. Number one is this: you have to associate. and attach yourself to those with a positive money mindset and attitude. And I've read something where it said that if you don't want to be fat, don't hang around fat people because you're going to pick up their bad habits and their bad attitudes. You know, if your friends are fat and you see them eating too much, then you're probably going to start eating too much. I'm like, I understand where they're coming from. I totally don't agree with that because everybody has something to offer, right? So, you know, I've been a fat friend to some skinny friends, and some of their thought processes I could care less for, but I was on a journey to changing myself. But that was something I kind of didn't agree with, right? But when it comes to finances, oh, it's absolutely true. You have to associate yourself with people that have a positive mindset about money, people that don't worship money, but they understand the purpose of money, because friends are like buttons on an elevator. They can take you up or they can take you down. Number 2, be generous. Now, I understand some people don't have a lot of money, but generosity is an attitude. And first, you be generous with your heart. It's simple. Give somebody a smile, hold the door. It costs you nothing. Okay? Let somebody in. Don't cut people off. Just be generous with what you have, because that's an attraction mechanism. Generosity is an attraction mechanism, because then you're going to begin to attract wealth. And then as you rise financially with money, you'll have time and you have other sources, and then you plan to give those. Don't just willy-nilly give them away, because I think I did a show on giving. You must have a giving plan. That's very important. And number 3, you have to set a guard over your mouth. In other words, no negative money talk. Don't say, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, because that right there, that will repel money. Just don't say those. I can't afford. If you have to say something like, I choose not to buy this at this time, or I will be able to have this someday, you're going to have to change the words that come out of your mouth. And if you can't say anything positive about money, don't say anything negative, because that's the fastest way to repel and to reject money. And I had a situation this week where, you know, something happened to me, and I was going to Whole Foods, and there's double level parking, and I usually park on the upper level because I don't want anybody scratching my car. I've always been like that. No matter what kind of car I've had, I've always parked away from people because I just can't stand some idiot dinging my door for no good reason, right? No matter what kind of car I've had, I've always tried to park away from people because I just hate it. So that's just my attitude. And parked upstairs, and had a difficult time finding the kind of spot I wanted. But there's this, I think it was a Chevy Trailblazer, one of the newer ones. And so I pulled in front of them, parked in the spot because it was, nobody on the right side and then nobody on the left side. And so, I got out the car. And as I was getting out of the car, the guy behind me got out of his car. And it was funny because, brothers, when we see each other, even if we don't know each other, it's kind of like we're long lost, pals. And he said, yo, man. I said, what's up? He said, I'll trade you cars. And I said, man, look. I said, if I trade you my car for yours, I said, not only do you get the car, but you get all the responsibilities that come along with my life, right? And I said, I'm not sure if you want this. And here's something that struck me. A lot of people will look at you and they will not understand what it took to get, from where you were, me being fat and broke, to where I am today. And it was because I had to change my attitude in regards to money. And this is something that I teach all of my clients all of the time. And so if you'd like to have a discussion with me about your money mindset and how I can help you change it, give me a call, 808-521-4401, and let me help you get from where you are today to where you really want to be. So until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is the podcastfactory.com.